The following contains recovered trail camera footage and field recordings from a wildlife survey conducted in the Cascade Range, Sector 7, in the fall of 2023. The survey was led by Elena Reyes, a biologist with the State Forestry Department. She deployed 14 cameras across 200 acres of forest. Some of what you will hear is read directly from her notes and audio journal. Elena Reyes has not been seen since October 22, 2023. The cameras were standard Bushnell units, motion-triggered, 30-second clips, timestamp, temperature, battery level burned into every frame, standard equipment. Nothing unusual. Camera 1. Deployed September 4th. Eastern Ridge near the old logging road. White-tailed deer, doe, and 2 fawns. Exactly what I expected to see. Camera 3. North Creek bed. A black bear, juvenile. He triggered the camera 6 times in one morning, mostly drinking, mostly nothing. Camera 7, Western Ridge. A coyote. She came through almost every night that first week. I started looking forward to seeing her in the footage. Camera 9, Deep Grid, Southern Quadrant. Furthest from any trail. The hardest to reach. I almost didn't deploy it there. I wish I hadn't. Week 1. Camera 9 captured nothing. Not a single trigger. I made a note to check the sensor on my next visit. Week 2. Still nothing on camera 9. Battery was fine. Sensor was fine. Just an empty frame for 14 days straight. Week 3. The first trigger on camera 9 came at 3:47 in the morning, October 2nd. Temperature 38 degrees. I watched the clip a dozen times. Something at the edge of the frame, far back, between 2 trees. I told myself it was a deer. Deer don't stand that way. Deer aren't that tall. I knew this. I told myself it was a deer anyway. Camera 9 triggered again the next night. Same time, 3:47 a.m. The same shape, slightly closer. And the night after that, 3:47 a.m., closer. I cross-referenced the timestamps with the other 13 cameras. None of them triggered at 3:47 a.m. Not one. Whatever was approaching camera 9 wasn't coming from anywhere I had eyes on. I drove out to the Deep Grid the next morning. 2-hour hike from the access road. I wanted to see camera 9 with my own eyes. Camera 9 was where I left it, strapped to the same oak. Battery good, sensor clean, nothing wrong with it, nothing at all. But the ground in front of the camera, where the figure had been standing in the footage, the ferns were flattened in a circle, like something had stood there for a long time, watching back. I told my supervisor. He told me coyotes do that, bed down in the same spot. He said I was overthinking the footage. He said to keep collecting data. Week 4. Camera 9 went quiet again. 3 nights of nothing. I started to think I'd imagined it. Then camera 4 triggered. 2 miles east, 3:47 a.m. The same figure, same posture, same wrong proportions. But this one was closer to the lens. Much closer. Camera 4 was on the other side of the grid. 2 miles of dense forest, a creek and a ridge between it and camera 9. Whatever this was, had moved across the entire survey area in 3 nights. Camera 11 the next night, 3:47 a.m., South Ridge, even closer to the lens. I plotted the camera triggers on a map, connected the dots in chronological order. The path it was taking made no sense, until I overlaid the deer migration route from the previous year. It was following the same path the deer used. The exact same path, as if it knew where they would have been. I checked the deer triggers for the same week. There weren't any. The deer were gone. All of them. Across the entire grid. Week 5. I started reviewing footage daily, every camera, every trigger, looking for anything I'd missed in the earlier weeks. I found something on camera 6. Week 1, day 3, the very first day of the survey. I'd missed it because the trigger had logged it as a deer. Behind the deer, far back in the trees, out of focus, a tall, thin shape that I had not noticed the first 6 times I watched it. It had been there from the beginning, from day 1, watching the cameras as I deployed them, watching me. I went back through every clip from week 1, every single one. I found it in 4 more. Always far back, always out of focus, always still. Then camera 9 triggered at 11:14 in the morning, not 3:47. The pattern broke. There was nothing in the frame at first. Then I noticed the lens. There was a smudge on it, a handprint from the inside. Trail cameras are sealed units. The lens is behind 2 layers of tempered glass. There is no inside to put a handprint on. There can't be. The handprint had 6 fingers. Week 6. I went back to the deep grid to retrieve camera 9. I wanted the original SD card. I wanted to send it to a forensic specialist at the university. I parked at the trailhead at 8:47 a.m. I checked my watch. I started the hike to camera 9, 2 hours each way. I was back at my truck by 6 p.m. 6 in the evening, for a 4-hour round trip. I lost 5 hours and I have no memory of where they went. My boots were muddy in places I didn't remember walking. My water bottle was empty. There was a scratch on my forearm I couldn't account for. Camera 9 was not on the SD card I brought back. It was on a different card, older, with footage on it I had never seen before. The footage on the card was from camera 9, but the timestamps were from 3 years ago, long before I deployed it, long before I worked for the department. The footage showed a woman walking through the deep grid, alone, carrying field equipment, wearing my jacket, the one I bought last spring. I watched her walk past camera 9 and disappear into the trees. The clip was 30 seconds long. She did not come back out. I searched the department records for Sector 7 surveys before mine. There was one, 3 years ago, conducted by a biologist named Dr. Margaret Hale. 12 weeks, 14 cameras, the same grid I was using. Margaret Hale's survey ended on October 17, 2022, the day before the final week of data collection. The record said she resigned for personal reasons. There was no follow-up. I requested her field notes from the archives. They came in a manila folder, unopened since 2022. The seal was intact. Inside, every page was blank, except the last one. The last page had 3 sentences in shaky handwriting. They read, "It learned the cameras. It learned my route. It learned my name." I tried to find Margaret Hale. There was an address on file, a house 2 hours from the forest. I drove there. The house had been empty for 3 years. The mail was overflowing. A neighbor told me she had walked into the forest one morning and never come out. They never found a body. They stopped looking after 6 months. The neighbor said something else. She said Margaret had complained in the weeks before she disappeared about losing time, about finding mud on boots she didn't remember wearing. I drove home that night. I checked the trail cam alerts on my phone every 20 minutes. Camera 9 had not triggered all day. Camera 4 had not triggered. None of them had. When I got home, every camera had triggered at exactly 9:47 p.m. All 14 simultaneously. I downloaded all 14 clips. They were each 30 seconds long. They each showed the same thing. Camera 1, the figure standing directly in front of the lens, face inches from the glass, looking in. Camera 3, the same. Camera 4, the same. Camera 6, the same. 14 cameras across 200 acres of forest. The same figure, at the same moment, at every single one. It cannot be in 14 places at once. It cannot be in 14 places at once. I wrote that down. I underlined it. I read it out loud to my empty kitchen. I called my supervisor. He didn't pick up. I called the university forensics contact. Voicemail. I called the local sheriff. They told me to come in the next morning to file a report. I did not sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table with the laptop open. I watched the clips on a loop. I tried to find a difference between them. There wasn't one. At 3:47 a.m., my home security camera triggered. I had forgotten I owned one. I had installed it 2 years ago and never checked the footage. The clip was 30 seconds long. For the first 29 seconds, the backyard was empty. In the final second, something tall stepped into frame from behind the fence and lifted one long arm to wave at the camera. I packed a bag. I left the house. I drove to a motel 3 counties away and paid in cash. I did not tell anyone where I was going. The motel room had a security camera in the parking lot. I asked the clerk to send me the footage from the night I checked in. She said sure. She emailed me a clip. The clip showed me arriving in my truck, walking to the office, coming back out, walking to my room. Standard, normal, until I noticed the figure in the row of cars behind me, watching me check in. It had followed me, or it had been waiting. I do not know which is worse. I called my supervisor again from the motel phone. This time he picked up. I told him everything. The clips, the handprint, the figure, the 14 cameras. He listened. He said he believed me. He said he was going to drive out to the Deep Grid himself in the morning to see the cameras. He told me to stay at the motel, to wait for his call. He never called. The next afternoon, I checked the TrailCam app. Camera 9 had triggered at 11:14 a.m. The clip was 30 seconds long. It showed my supervisor's truck parked at the trailhead. Camera 9 triggered again at 11:31. The truck was still there. The driver door was open. There was no one inside. Camera 9 triggered a third time at 12:08. There was no truck. There was no door. There was a circle of flattened ferns where the truck had been, and nothing else. I drove back to the forest the next morning. I do not know why. I knew it was the wrong choice. I made it anyway. I told myself I was going for the cameras, to collect them, to bring them all back, to end the survey. My supervisor's truck was still at the trailhead. The driver door was still open. The keys were still in the ignition. I did not touch them. I started the hike to camera 1, the closest camera. The first one I had deployed 2 months earlier. I was going to retrieve them in order. Camera 1 was gone. The strap was still on the tree. The screws were still in the casing. The camera itself had been removed, cleanly, as if someone had taken it down. Camera 3 was gone. Camera 5 was gone. Camera 7 was gone. Every camera I checked had been removed. The straps were still there. The screws were still there. The cameras themselves were not. I made it to the deep grid by 1 p.m. The hike that should have taken 2 hours took 5. I do not know what happened in the missing time. I do not want to know. Camera 9 was still on the oak tree. The only one that hadn't been removed. The light on the front was blinking. It was recording. I sat down in front of camera 9. I do not know why. I sat in the circle of flattened ferns where the figure had stood for weeks. I looked into the lens. I said my name out loud. Elena Reyes. I said the date, October 22nd. I said where I was, Sector 7, Deep Grid, Camera 9. I said it for whoever found this footage. I said, I was here. I came back. I do not know if I will leave. Then I noticed the camera was warm. I reached up and touched the casing. Trail cameras do not generate heat. They're designed to be cold to avoid attracting wildlife. The camera was warm. I looked at the lens. There was a smudge on the inside of the glass. A handprint with 6 fingers. I stood up. I looked behind me. The forest was empty. Of course it was. I started walking back to the truck. I walked fast. I did not run. I had read somewhere that you should never run. I reached the trailhead just before sunset. My truck was where I had left it. My supervisor's truck was gone. There was a circle of flattened ferns where it had been, and nothing else. I drove home. I uploaded the footage from Camera 9. The camera I had not been able to retrieve. The one still recording in the deep grid. The footage from my visit was not on the card. None of it was. There was no record of me sitting in the ferns, no record of me speaking my name, no record of me being there at all. But there was one new clip on the card, recorded at 14:24 p.m. Camera 9, 30 seconds long. From the day I had sat in front of it, the angle was slightly higher than the camera should have been, as if someone had been holding it. It was looking down at me. It had been holding the camera the whole time. And in the final frame, just before the clip ended, you can see a hand entering the corner of the shot. A long hand with 6 fingers, reaching toward the back of my head.